The dark horse. According to theidioms.com, a dark horse is someone who is previously unknown, but suddenly emerges into prominence. When it comes down to the NFL AP Defensive Player of the Year award, you don't just need to be prominent. You need to be historically prominent. For recent winners of the award, defensive linemen have dominated it. Of the last 10 awards, 7 have been given to defensive linemen, 1 for Khalil Mack, and 3 each for J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald. And while that trend may continue, historically, the position that has won the most Defensive Player of the Year nods has been at the linebacker position. Lawrence Taylor, Mike Singletary, Ray Lewis. These are just a few names of players that dominated the minds of writers voting on the award. And while the favorites today are either edge rushers and men named Aaron Donald, the fact still remains: more linebackers have won the award than any other position. So if a linebacker were to win the award this season, the question is, who? Well, after week 1, there is one man who has the potential to finally bring this prestigious award home to the linebacker family. And that man is Chandler Jones. In 2007, Chandler Jones was ranked the 8th best high school football prospect in the state of New York. 18 years old and standing at 6'6", 235 pounds, he was at the time recruited to play defensive end and committed his talents to the University of Syracuse. In his junior season, he finished with 57 tackles, 38 of them solo, with 4 sacks in 13 games. The next season, he only played 7 games due to injury, but somehow churned out more sacks in half of the games compared to the previous season. A 2-time All-Big East selection as a dominant edge rusher, Jones was drafted in the first round by the Patriots. Jones made an immediate impact. In his first career regular season game, he strip-sacked Tennessee Titans' Jake Locker, which led to a defensive touchdown. And the following week, he forced another fumble, sacking Kevin Kolb of the Arizona Cardinals. For a Bill Belichick-led defense, Jones found a way to be effective right out of the gate. In his first seasons with the Patriots, Jones had 2 double-digit sack seasons, forced at least 1 fumble per season, and recorded over 40 tackles a year, even in 2014 when he only played 10 games. In 2015, he won a Super Bowl and got his first Pro Bowl nod, but then was traded in the offseason to Arizona with only 1 year left on his rookie contract. And this trade, by the way, is a dark horse in and of itself, as one of the most one-sided trades in recent memory. While the Cardinals got an all-pro elite pass rusher, the Patriots got a player that they would release a year later and a second-round pick, which they would use on a player that they would release a year later. This is when Chandler Jones blew up. Under head coach Bruce Arians, he immediately moved from defensive end to outside linebacker, but specializing in edge rushing and blitzing. His first season, he netted 49 tackles and 11 sacks while forcing 4 fumbles. His second season, he led the league with 28 tackles for a loss and a monstrous 17 sacks, a new franchise record. A record that he would then break in 2019 when he had 19 sacks. That's the 7th highest total in NFL regular season history. But you're probably wondering, hey, what about 2018? What did he do then? Well, Bruce Arians retired after 2017, and they hired Steve Wilks, who moved Jones back to defensive end in his 4-3 defense. While Jones had 13 sacks and 4 forced fumbles, the Cardinals went 3-13 that year, with Wilks being fired at season's end. Jones immediately moved back to outside linebacker in 2019 under Cliff Kingsbury, and, well, you now know what he did. After his 19-sack season, Jones suffered a torn bicep in Week 5 of 2020, and did not return that year. The 2021 offseason was riddled with rumors, with it being reported that Chandler Jones requested a trade from Arizona in July, and writers and fans worried that his injury would limit his elite abilities come September. The injury was also a severe one, and he is now 31 years old, looking for a new contract. All of this speculation, however, was put on a major hold after Week 1 of the 2021 season. For the Cardinals season opener against the Titans, Jones recorded a franchise record 5 sacks in a single game, and nabbed 4 tackles for a loss and 2 forced fumbles. Twitter blew up. Even LeBron tweeted about it, a man with no connection to Arizona at all. Jones was without a doubt the defensive player of the week in Week 1, and has put to rest, at least for now, all of the questions regarding his effectiveness. So with all of this info and history, the question is, could Jones actually win the Defensive Player of the Year? Well, for the 2021 season specifically, he already has a major leg up. With 5 sacks and only 1 game played, he most likely now has the rest of the season to get about 15 sacks, and that would most likely lead the league. At 18 sacks, he would break the all-time record. And in his 3 seasons playing outside linebacker, he's averaged 16 sacks over 16 games. If he averaged that the rest of the way, as he has done for his last 3 healthy years, he would no doubt lead the entire league in that category. Oh, and remember, with a 17-game regular season, he has an extra game to reach that mark. But in order for him to hit that sack mark, he needs a team around him to at least distract. Last offseason, the Cardinals did lose all-pro elite corner Patrick Peterson. While impossible to replace such a generational talent, the Cardinals still have a very promising defense. Through a microscope, of course, the game against the Titans itself in Week 1 is a huge testament to their ability. And that game featured phenomenal performances by Pro Bowl safety Budda Baker and 8th overall 2020 pick Isaiah Simmons. In that game, Simmons led the team with 7 tackles and nabbed himself an interception as well. While listed at linebacker, Simmons has the ability to play every position, as he did at Clemson when he played linebacker, defensive end, corner, and safety. The Cardinals were also the talk of the offseason when they signed 3-time Defensive Player of the Year J.J. Watt to start on the left side. With pressure from him on the left, Budda Baker in coverage, and Simmons as a wild card linebacker, Chandler Jones may very well have all of the support and distraction he needs to get to the quarterback, or at least cause a ton of trouble. So while, yeah, he may not be an insane dark horse pick to win it all after his Week 1 performance, the national sports media still has yet to embrace even the possibility he could compete for it. But even with being a long shot, he has the talent, the history, and the support needed to make it at least interesting, but maybe even perhaps shock the world. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video below and subscribe for more sports historian content.